name's Nadine Lowe and I'm with Stitching Hearts Worldwide. Today we're going to learn how to make our little newborn kits. They come with a hat and 2 mittens, a receiving blanket, and a burp cloth. We're going to start with the hat. So in the kit you'll get enough to make 2 little hats, and you can make them coordinating fabric like this, or you can make them all the same. Today we're going to do it all the same. We start by marking the darts. To mark the darts, we're going to take the 2 pieces and fold each one in half. And the dart is going to be marked a 1/2 inch in from the edge at the top and 3.5 inches down. So if you just put a point there and a little mark there, same thing on this side, and 3.5 inches down. And you're going to do that on the other one as well. And when you have those marked, then you're going to take them to the sewing machine. So we're going to sew this dart at the 1/2 inch and then taper it down to that 3.5 inch point that you made. So then when you've got these 4 darts made in each of the 2 pieces, you're going to put those together. And we're going to pin them. So we're going to pin this together, matching up the little darts, and I like to lay one dart one direction and one dart the other direction so that it eliminates bulk. So matching those, and then put a couple more pins around to hold it while you're sewing. Now when you sew around the outside of this, you're going to want to leave about 1.5 inch opening. So I'm going to mark that so that I remember to do that, to leave it a little opening for when we turn it. So when you've got it pinned, then you're going to take it to the sewing machine. And this is a 1/4 inch seam. So before we turn this inside out, we're going to match up the 4 darts that we've made together. And we're going to stitch just about 1 inch across the top of this little hat. This is going to hold it together so that when we have the hat finished, it doesn't turn around and bunch up. So it's just a little tacking that you're doing to hold the top together. So once we've done that, now we can turn it inside out. So we're going to find our opening and turn the whole item inside out. Now I've done it this way with the opening out so you can see that's where we turned it, because now we're going to stitch that opening closed. And it rolls in really nicely and makes it very easy to stitch that closed. So we're just going to do a little edge stitching and catch that closed. You can see that right there. That's going to be the inside of your hat. So now you can turn it the right way. So after you've got it turned, you can just make the cuff like this, and there you have your cute little beanie hat for your infant. So now we're going to make our little mittens. In your kit, you're going to get 4 little half moon pieces like this and 2 cuffs. So the first step is to take the little mitten, put them right sides together, and you're just going to sew a 1 inch little hat seam up to there. So I've done it on this one. I'm going to sew this one. Back stitching as you start, and just about 1 inch up. It doesn't have to be exact. We're going to finish sewing the rest of it after we put on the cuff. Okay, so now your seam is sewn, and you're going to open this up and take your little cuffs, fold it in half, and line them up with the edge of the mitten, and stitch across the bottom. Okay, and these are so simple to make because our next step, we're just gonna fold them in half, lining up right sides together, and continue stitching around to finish this mitten up. And you're going to come to that stitching that you started with, where you just sewed 1 inch, and that's where you're going to end up finishing. So now we'll do the other one, and it's good to turn the cuff so that it's going up into the mitten. So the seam is down that way. It's easier to sew it that way and it looks better when it's finished. Now we just turn it inside out. And we have our little cute little midi. So now we're gonna demonstrate how to do both the receiving blanket and the burp cloth. So to start out with the receiving blanket, spread the 2 pieces out flat, and you may have to trim up the edges a little bit because sometimes they shift with the stretch. So make sure that they're fairly even. So you wanna put a few pins in this just to hold it together. And I've done that already. I've put some pins just scattered throughout the middle. It just holds everything together better. So then we'll fold this up, and again, and we want to line up all of the corners so that we can make a nice round corner. And one of the best ways to do this is to take a plate, an 8-inch plate, and lay it, and use your rotary cutter to cut around it, or you can draw around your plate, and I don't have a plate with us here today, but make it a nice rounded gentle corner, and then you can just cut it with your scissors to make that a round end. And that's because when we serge it, it's easier to sew a gentle slope than a corner. So now we also have that nice gentle corner already cut on our burp cloth. So I'm going to show you serging around this, and it will apply to what we do on the receiving blanket as well. So now we're going to take it to the serger, and I generally like to start on a straight section, not on a rounded section. And you're just gonna serge, just barely cutting off. You wanna make sure that you're sewing through both sides, you're catching it all, and then just round, going around those corners to make a finished edge. When you get to where you started, just sew over slightly and then serge off and cut it. And this is going to be the same thing that you do on your receiving blanket. Go all the way around, rounding your corners, and then trim your edge, and you've got a finished blanket. This is a finished burp cloth, and again, you can see how that will apply when you do your receiving blanket.